You read that right. My little sister booked her six-figure birthday party at my hotel. Without telling me. Walked in with her fiancé's entire family like she owned the place, pointed at me, yes, me, and told my staff to remove that homeless woman from the lobby. I was that homeless woman. Except I wasn't homeless. I was the owner. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was knowing everyone in my family had planned it. And not a single one of them thought I deserved to be told. They expected me to pay for it, quietly, politely, just like I always had. It hit me then, I wasn't their daughter. I wasn't their sister. I was their wallet. And that was the moment something broke. Not loudly. Not with tears. But with a silence so sharp it rewrote everything. This story isn't about a birthday. It's not even about revenge. It's about what happens when the invisible one in the family finally decides she's done playing nice. I used to believe peace came from being needed. Now I know better. If you've ever felt like your love came with terms and conditions. If you've ever been told to stay quiet for the sake of the family. If you've ever smiled while swallowing every damn thing you wanted to scream. This one's for you. Let me tell you how I walked away without burning anything down. And still left them choking in the smoke. The air was thick with jasmine and the low hum of cicadas as Maris pulled up to the Calder residence, a house that once smelled like home, now pulsing with old ghosts. The ceiling fan creaked overhead as if warning her, and the faint scent of crawfish boiling somewhere nearby took her straight back to childhood summers she'd rather forget. I knew better than to come back. But somehow, I always do. Celeste opened the door in a pastel blouse, all smiles that didn't reach her eyes. She leaned in with a kiss to the air beside Maris's cheek. Still wearing black, "Hi," she chirped. Behind her, Martin sat hunched over a half-eaten lasagna, didn't even glance up. Maris rolled her suitcase over the threshold and stepped inside, out of duty, not desire. In the living room, Saren was sprawled across the designer love seat, phone in hand, legs crossed like a cover shoot. "Look who finally showed up," she smirked. "Still color-coding spreadsheets, sis?" Maris said nothing. The silence between them had long since grown teeth. Dinner was served on heirloom china, the kind that only came out for holidays, or ambushes. Celeste talked about the weather. Saren took a selfie, angling her phone to crop Maris out. Maris chewed stale bread and swallowed her irritation like it might dissolve. Then came the toast. Saren stood, lifted her glass. "My 33rd is going to be iconic. Champagne wall. Drones. A horse-drawn carriage. Just under 150K. She looked straight at Maris. "And my amazing sister will cover it." Maris froze. "Excuse me." Celeste chimed in, "You've been so blessed, sweetheart. It's time to give back." Martin kept chewing. Maris stood. "I'm full. Thanks." She walked out. No one followed. The door clicked shut behind her, echoing like a final receipt. "That's not a home. That's an accounting office with my name on the bill." Back at Bayview Cottage, Maris poured a glass of red wine and sank onto the kitchen island stool. She unpinned her hair, loosened her collar, small acts of freedom. But the knot in her chest didn't budge. It pulsed beneath her ribs, thick and silent. Her phone buzzed. A message from Aina, check her IG. Maris opened Instagram. Saren had just posted a split-screen story, on one side, her clinking glasses with her event planner, drenched in filters and faux elegance. On the other, a shaky video of Maris's 10-year-old car pulling into the garage. The caption read, "Rich sister living like she's in witness protection." The comments came fast, cruel, anonymous. "What is that, a 2005 Toyota? At least she's not faking it like someone else. That house screams midlife crisis." Maris read them all. Then locked her phone without blinking. Minutes later, Aina showed up with a pint of lemon sorbet and a bottle of white. "She won't stop, you know. This is her sport." Maris didn't argue. "I know. But this time. I'm not stepping aside. Later that night, memories surfaced like bruises. 10 years old, feverish in a hospital bed. Her mother at her side, whispering, "You're the reason I'm strong." But the next night, she'd overheard her hissing into the phone, "I gave up my career for her. We're bleeding money. She better not turn out to be a waste." Back in the kitchen, Maris opened the freezer. She shoved the banana bread, her mother's offering, between a bag of frozen peas and a dusty bottle of vodka. "I don't eat it the way she meant me to anymore," she whispered. The day at Calder Holdings started like any other: emails, investor reports, numbers that usually centered Maris. But not today. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, tapping through tasks she couldn't quite finish. Aina knocked gently and entered with a folder in hand, talking through a new proposal, but paused when she noticed the distant fog in Maris's eyes. Then came the click of heels. Celeste. Unannounced, of course. She walked in like she owned the place, arms full of familiarity and banana bread. "You work too hard," she said, her tone featherlight. "Just like your father." She didn't wait for permission, just sat, eyes scanning the room like she was appraising the furniture. She pulled out a cream envelope and slid it across the desk. "Something for you to review." Inside, Saren's birthday budget. Bold at the top, Maris Calder, confirmed. Maris blinked. "Who confirmed this?" Celeste smiled, all smooth edges. "Sweetheart, you're the practical one. The responsible sister. Let's not make this harder than it needs to be." Maris didn't yell. She just stared. Celeste leaned in, "Saren can't afford it. Your father and I are on fixed income. You, on the other hand, this entire venue is yours." Aina watched from behind the glass wall, grip tightening on her tablet. Maris calmly placed the budget back inside the envelope, walked to her desk drawer, and tucked it away. "Thanks for stopping by. I've got a meeting in 5. Celeste patted her arm. "I'll have the planner send over the forms. It's very boutique." The door shut. Aina stepped in. "You okay?" "Maris, they don't get to decide for me anymore." The morning light filtered through the windows of Calder Holdings as Maris flipped through Somerset's monthly performance report. Numbers were up. Bookings strong. Everything looked good, on paper. Aina walked in holding a large yellow envelope. "Courier just dropped this. Marked urgent. From Monroe Events." Maris opened it, scanning each page slowly. It was a venue contract for the Imperial Deckhouse, Saren's birthday. Tucked in the fine print, "Family Financial Liaison, Maris Calder." A clause caught her eye, buried under liability terms. If the primary party failed to pay within 30 days, Maris would be held fully responsible for the balance, legal fees, and penalties. Aina's voice was sharp. "It's legal. But it's a setup." Maris narrowed her eyes. She really thought I'd sign this without reading it. She opened her laptop and started typing with surgical precision. Subject, contract request. Body. We do not process documents submitted through emotional channels. All future correspondence must go through our legal team. Unsolicited contracts will not be acknowledged. M. Calder. Aina raised a brow. "Want me to loop in the Monroes?" Maris shook her head. "No. Let her wonder. Ambiguity has a shelf life." She saved a scanned copy of the contract, dragged it into a new folder labeled SC, Unauthorized Moves. Aina leaned on the table. "What's next?" Maris didn't flinch. "Nothing. Not yet. The louder she gets, the easier it'll be to turn up the silence." Morning sunlight streamed across the Somerset Estate's marble floors as Aina sat down to review the upcoming bookings. She scrolled through the event calendar, paused when she saw it, SC3, Grand Lux Package, this weekend. Her brow furrowed. She clicked deeper. Client, Saren Calder. The booking had come through a third-party planner. No approval request. No courtesy call. "She booked here," Aina said aloud, stunned. without saying a damn word. She marched into Maris's office, screen in hand. Want me to cancel it right now? Maris didn't even flinch. No, she said evenly. If she wants to play on my turf, we let her. Let her set the table before I flip it. Maris pulled up the ballroom security feed. There was Saren, dripping in designer, heels too tall for the marble floors, strutting through the space like it already belonged to her. This wall gets candles from Provence, she told the planner, spinning dramatically. Carriage arrives here by 8. Vibe, Versailles but sexy. She snapped at a staff member, this linen color is wrong. Does anyone here even read English? Then, she slammed a clipboard onto the floor, papers scattering like confetti. Aina, standing behind Maris, exhaled. This isn't a booking error. This is hostile occupation. Maris didn't blink. She's digging her own grave. I'm just picking the headstone. She opened a new folder, SC, Unauthorized Booking Subfolder, Behavior Violation, Video Footage. Her voice was steady. Don't cancel. Don't respond. Document everything. I don't want revenge, I want receipts so loud, I never have to raise my voice. The office was silent except for the soft whir of the desk lamp. Maris sat alone, her reflection staring back at her from the glass wall, composed on the surface, but her eyes burned with a quiet, sharpened fire. On her screen, footage played, Saren yelling, slamming clipboards, humiliating staff. One young employee flinched as she was shoved aside, face flushed with embarrassment. Maris watched it all, over and over. She closed her eyes, and memory filled the dark. A younger Maris, clutching a worn backpack, standing outside a classroom because the tuition hadn't cleared. Her mother's voice, your sister's exploring her creativity. You should study accounting. It's safer. The night shifts Maris picked up during college. The holidays spent working while the rest unwrapped gifts. Last New Year's, she gave her mother a spa voucher, only to hear, you must have a lot of spare cash for someone still single. Maris opened her eyes and faced her reflection. I'm not a receipt. I'm not your family refund program. I'm a person. And I'm done being the background someone else shines against. She grabbed a post-it note labeled Saren payment deadline, tore it clean, and dropped it into the trash. Then, she opened her calendar. Event, Saren's birthday reminder, arrive on time. End on my terms. She typed a quick message to Aina, pin all footage from yesterday. We're not managing a party. We're curating a coronation. Maris stood and walked into the hallway. Her silhouette disappeared into the shadows, moving toward the one light still glowing, like stepping out of survival and into her own power. The grand ballroom shimmered with soft chandeliers and pristine white roses lining the entrance. Guests in gowns and tuxedos mingled beneath the golden light. Saren entered like a celebrity, metallic silk gown catching every flash, curls bouncing, smile camera ready. She raised her champagne glass to her planner, purring for the video crew, this is it. The moment my legacy begins. The Monroe family arrived moments later. Eloin and Winston led the way, graceful, composed. Beckham followed behind, hands in his pockets, face unreadable. Saren rushed over. So glad you're here. Isn't it divine? Chandeliers imported from Austria. The vibe is very French royalty meets Instagram. Eloin smiled politely. Winston nodded, glancing around. Odd, I haven't seen the venue owner's name listed anywhere. Just then, the music cut out. Silence wrapped the room like velvet. All heads turned to the grand staircase. Maris descended one step at a time. Navy gown. Hair slicked into a low twist. The air changed. The clicks of her heels echoed like a metronome counting down to truth. She paused mid-staircase, eyes sweeping across the crowd. Welcome to Somerset Estate. I'm Maris Calder, owner and executive director of this venue. Gasps fluttered. Saren's smile cracked. Eloin turned, intrigued. Winston stepped forward to shake Maris's hand. Impressive. You built all this. Maris met his gaze. I didn't build it behind the scenes. I built it brick by brick. Beckham stared at her, stunned, silent, but no longer indifferent. Behind them, Saren stiffened. Her planner leaned in, whispering, "You didn't tell me your sister owned the venue." Maris didn't even glance her way. She turned smoothly and signaled to Aina. "Please escort the Monroe family to the terrace. I'll join them shortly." Backstage, far from the candlelit centerpieces and polished champagne flutes, Saren stumbled into the mirrored hallway. Her reflection stared back pale, mascara bleeding down her cheekbones. She pulled out her phone, tried to steady her hand for a selfie, a last-minute recovery. But her fingers shook. She pressed record, then stopped. Her back slid down the wall, sequins crumpling under the weight of silence. "Why do you always have to steal the spotlight from me?" she whispered to no one. Down the hall, Maris appeared, heels clicking against the marble. She saw Saren crumpled at the base of her own reflection, mascara smeared, pride cracked. Maris paused for just a moment. Her gaze wasn't cruel, only final. No gloating. No pity. Just a quiet acknowledgement that the war was over. She walked past without a word. Her phone buzzed. "Dad." She answered. Martin's voice, "Maybe don't push this any further, okay? It's still your sister's birthday." Maris stared out the window towards Somerset's garden, now softly glowing in twilight. "I stood in front of all of you tonight," she said calmly. "And none of you saw me. You've never seen me." He didn't reply. She ended the call. Her eyes remained dry, but something deep beneath them shifted, an invisible thread snapping clean. Out in the garden, lights twinkled gently among white blooms. "I don't need applause," Maris thought. "I just need the silence to finally belong to me." Sunlight filtered through the kitchen window of Bayview Cottage, soft and steady. Maris brewed her coffee, opened her laptop, and exhaled. The storm had passed. There were no headlines here, no whispers. Just peace, earned, not granted. A notification pinged. From Martin Calder. Subject, "I'm sorry." She clicked. "You were right. I'm sorry. Dad." No excuses. No stories. Just a simple, overdue truth. Maris stared at the words, unmoved. She didn't cry. Didn't smile. She deleted the message without a second thought. Back at Somerset, Aina entered with a full clipboard. 3 new weddings confirmed, she said. And a fundraiser just got picked up by NOLA Broadcasting. The venue was buzzing again, discreet, elegant, in demand. Just like Maris had always intended. Aina tapped her tablet. "Oh, and Eloin Monroe's niece reached out. Wants to meet you personally. Says it's non-negotiable." Maris read the email, then gave the faintest smile. "Tell her we'd be honored. Somerset always has room for real legacy." Later that evening, a wedding blog posted. $1 million party cancelled midway, Somerset refuses to comment. Aina raised an eyebrow. "Still want to stay quiet?" Maris didn't look up. "They're finally telling the story I wanted them to tell, without needing me to speak a word." Maris sat on the back porch of Somerset Garden, a light shawl draped across her shoulders, one hand wrapped around a glass of red wine. The golden hour light filtered through the trees, casting long shadows across the lawn like brushstrokes. Somewhere nearby, a soft jazz melody floated through the air from a neighbor's open window, a faint, unbothered, like everything else that evening. She picked up her phone. No texts. Not from her mother. Not from Saren. She scrolled to her father's last message, deleted. She placed the phone face down on the table and didn't reach for it again. Her gaze drifted toward the garden. Wind rustled through the leaves, and in that moment, she thought of the phrase her mother once said, "Family is sacred, nothing can replace it." Maris let the thought linger, then smiled, faint and unhurried. "Maybe so," she whispered, "but not every family deserves to be sacred." She leaned back in her chair, eyes closed, letting her chest rise and fall with a calm that wasn't forced, it was owned. I used to think peace came from being seen, being applauded, her voice echoed in the stillness. But peace doesn't need a witness. It just needs to be kept. I didn't win because I shouted louder. I won because I finally listened to myself. As the sky melted into hues of lavender and gold, the camera would slowly pull away from the porch. One woman. Alone, but never lonely. Complete. And somewhere, a soft piano began to play. Sometimes, the loudest thing you can do is walk away in silence. Not out of bitterness. Not out of revenge. But because you finally remembered who you are, without the noise, the guilt, or the need for anyone to validate your worth. There comes a moment in life when you realize, peace doesn't arrive in the form of an apology. It doesn't come from someone finally saying, you were right. Peace shows up when you stop apologizing to yourself for taking up space. We're taught that love means sacrifice. That family means endurance. That being the strong one means being the quiet one. But strength doesn't mean staying silent. It means drawing boundaries that don't shake, even when the ground beneath them does. It means refusing to shrink just to make others comfortable. You can let go without hate. You can forgive without returning. And you can choose yourself without explanation. Because at the end of the day, choosing yourself is not betrayal. It's the most honest kind of love there is. So if this story stirred something in you, if it reminded you of the silent weight you've been carrying, or if it made you feel seen, maybe for the first time, tell me. Drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from, or just type 1 if it hit home. And if you want more stories like this are real, raw, and rooted in truth, go ahead and subscribe. Because sometimes, the right story at the right time, it doesn't just entertain. It heals.